Hello and welcome to the Aftermath. Today I have Andrew Matheson with me from the Emerging Markets team. Andrew, good to see you. I see we want to talk about China a little bit to start with, and particularly the e-commerce consumption story. What have you seen developing in terms of new trends as the country's gone through its COVID experience?
Morning, Kim. Well, of course, we've seen trends that are very specific to the coronavirus situation, products that people are buying whilst they're stuck at home, or equally things they can't buy, outdoor entertainment that's just not available for them at the moment. So, what's more interesting for us is trying to assess the trends that are going to be lasting. And what we observe is that the crisis has really delivered an acceleration in trends that were already well underway. I think everyone will be familiar that China's already one of the leading e-commerce markets globally. And of course, e-commerce has been a big beneficiary. But what's interesting is if we go a bit deeper, what you'll see is that actually in China pre-crisis, online grocery was not particularly well penetrated. Actually, it's kind of in line with markets in Europe in mid-single digits. But of course, online grocery has been a huge beneficiary in the recent months. Another example would be out-of-home dining, so delivery services. And what we've seen there is high-end restaurants that previously were reticent about signing up to some of these delivery platforms have changed their behavior during the crisis, and they've signed up. And, of course, some of these trends had a big benefit, and we expect that you will see some slip back as behavior normalizes. But of course, some of the consumer habits that have been formed during this period will prove to be lasting.
And are there any learnings there, or any kind of expectations that are now built in for other markets?
Yeah, well, of course, every market has its own nuances, but what we observe is that the high-level trends are similar across markets. And again, that's about this crisis accelerating the shift that was already underway. So, for example, the shift from bricks and mortar to the shift that's online. And if you take a market like Brazil as an example, where historically the shift to online has been quite slow, this crisis has really seen us take a huge leap forward. You have about 70% of consumers in Brazil now with a smartphone, and online retail has rocketed in the last few months. As consumers have signed up for the first time to these platforms, they've put in payment details, they've experienced online shopping for the first time, the convenience and choice that that's brought them. And again, we think that those habits that have been formed in this period will prove to be lasting. This is not something that's just going to change back as soon as the coronavirus kind of moves out of view. These consumers have learned a new way of shopping. And we think that really this period has seen a sort of great leap forward in that shift.
Yeah, that makes sense, Andrew. Certainly matches what we're seeing elsewhere in other countries. Can I ask if there's one thing that you think maybe investors are perhaps not ignoring, but perhaps not attributing the right level of importance to? What would you say that was?
Well, I think the point I'd make about the emerging market consumer is that it's a young consumer, increasingly a digital native. They're shopping and socializing online, they're ordering food online, they're ordering a taxi through their phone, they're booking entertainment through their phone, they're saving and borrowing through their smartphone. And this really is the story of investing in emerging markets today. Historically, the emerging market index was dominated by resource companies, and there's still this lingering perception that investing in emerging markets is about these cyclical businesses. But today, the index is dominated by consumer companies, financial companies, and technology companies that are global leaders in intellectual property, benefiting from strong secular trends. And this crisis has only served to accelerate those trends and to cement that shift in the index.
Yeah, those are good points. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found it interesting. Don't hesitate to get in touch if you did or you didn't. And we're going to have more interesting sectors to discuss over the next few weeks. Thank you. Bye-bye.